Morning, I'm Cuan from Gunrats and welcome on this beautiful winter's morning in South Africa. So today, quite exciting, we have a brand new, still sealed in the box, Beretta 1301 Tactical. Now we've looked at the Tactical before and Tacticals have been around for quite some time and they are absolutely fantastic, world renowned. But apparently there have been some improvements made. Some minor improvements. You can't really improve that much on perfection. So we're going to have a closer look at this 1301. And as you can see, it's coming straight out of the box, brand spanking new. We haven't tested it, we haven't looked at it. And yeah, that's quite exciting. Let's share with the viewers. Whoa, in FDE as well. That's really, really nice. So, on first inspection, we have nice protective case, recoil system extension for length of pull, which I think on this shotgun, and we're going to get to that in a moment, I don't think would be really viable. There's the first sign that there has been a change to the 1301, and that's a choke tube. So previous 1301s that I've dealt with in the Tactical series have always been cylinder bore and no chokes. So that's quite interesting. We'll look at that in a moment. Yeah, we're not going to be using that. That fits in the magazine to restrict your capacity. I would imagine this would take your capacity down to, looks like almost one. Looks like a 1+1. That's never going to be used. And here, I'm pretty sure she's safe straight out of the box, but there we go. And there I can see that, and we'll get to that in a moment too. So yes, that's actually a really, really nice color. I like that, the flat dark earth from Beretta. Very, very smart. In a moment, we're going to have a look at the features and a couple of those very, very small, subtle changes that Beretta have made to the superb shotgun. And we'll point them out to you. And I think we're going to look at extending the magazine capacity as well, because as this is standard out of the box, this will be a 5+1 capacity. I do have an extension here that can change it to a 7+1, so adding 2 to the magazine capacity. But I'm actually quite excited about getting to it and trying a couple of rounds through it. Having just opened this little box and revealing this Beretta 1301 Tactical from Beretta Holdings, this is the first time that we're actually going to play with the FDE version. I have used the black version in the past, which was the slightly older version. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I'm a massive fan of the Beretta 1301 platform. The 1301 Comp, the Comp Pros, the Comp Pro Tony system are obviously more sport orientated than they are tactical, and they're more multi-purpose. This is a truly dedicated tactical gun, and it is absolutely tiny. If I measure it, old trusty here, from the front all the way to the back, spot on 96 centimeters. Now that's incredibly short, and for a stock gun, I believe this is the shortest stock that Beretta actually puts on any of their firearms. So it's really, really short and compact, and there's a very good reason for that. 18.5-inch barrel, which I think is about 47 centimeters. 18.5-inch barrel, really short stock, keeping the entire gun and the entire package really small. And there's several reasons for that. Number one, it's a tactical gun, which means it's 10-to-1, not your primary firearm, which means you're going to be slinging this along as an accessory, as an additional firearm for breaching doors, etc. The other reason is for maneuverability. It is tiny, which means it can be used in really close quarters. house penetration, warehouse penetration inside a vehicle. It's nice and short and compact. A much longer gun wouldn't be practical for such purposes. And the other reason for keeping it really short over here is that being a tactical gun, it will tend to be used by tactical teams. Tactical teams, by virtue, wear armor. Armor makes you bigger. So that makes up for the lost space on the longer stock. A longer stock would just become cumbersome, and that's the whole idea of this gun, is not to be cumbersome. Nice and compact and extremely effective. So let's have a quick look at her. Nice little sticky, grippy recoil pad, sling swivel fore and aft, really solid synthetic stock. The blink system that I really love with its gas operation, which is really quick and reduces that felt recoil impulse. Really nice rear sight, peep sight, which I'm very fond of. It comes standard with this little Picatinny weaver rail, which I think would be, it makes a lot of sense to utilize that rail and put a red dot on here. It makes sight and target acquisition so much quicker. And a post front sight, nice and protected by these wings with a white dot. Magazine capacity is standard 5+1. We're going to look at extending that in a moment. I have these options available from Beretta. This is a +4 magazine extension tube, and this is a +2. Using the +4 wouldn't make sense to me. It's just too long. Once again, makes the gun cumbersome, and that's not the purpose of this firearm. That will defeat the object here. Just as a matter of interest, this will fit on all the 1301s, the comps, the comp pros, etc. It comes with its own spring system, because obviously it's a lot longer and requires a longer spring for the magazine. The +2 is a lot simpler. That is literally how it's supplied. The original spring in the gun will be utilized with this, and they usually, always, function 100% in my experience. And if you look at that, that's a really nice fit. And that adds 2 rounds, which is really nice. So you're going to go from a 5+1 to a 7+1 in a tactical gun, which makes a lot of sense to me. I really like that, and we're going to show you in a moment how to actually put this on, and it's really easy. Very simple. The other thing that I notice is the bolt release is a new design. The previous bolt release used to come further back, and I know it created problems. In other words, it acted a little bit like a seesaw. Now, if you pull this bolt release out, it allows rounds from your magazine to come out. So it's actually quite a nice way of unloading your gun nice and safe. However, if you had the old system and you inadvertently pressed the back of it, knocked it against the door or whatever the case may be, you would drop ammunition, which will never make sense in a tactical situation. Particularly, well, at any time, but particularly if you've got a round already on your follower, you've got a mess there that's going to take some time to clean up. So this is a much nicer design. You can only go forward, and if you want to unload, you literally grip it and pull it out. So that takes concerted effort, but no one's ever in a rush to unload. So that's a really great improvement. It's nice to see. And then in the box, we got a choke key, which you would never have got on this gun's predecessors. On the tacticals, that is. The comps, the comp pros all come choke ready. This one was always a cylinder bore, no chokes. If we have a look over here, this tactical is now fitted with a choke. Very interesting. Only comes with one. Optional extras are available. Let's have a look at the choke that's in here quickly. On the topic of chokes, please don't ever fire any choke gun without chokes in it. You will totally destroy the barrel. And always use a choke grease, failing which an oil on your threads before replacing your chokes. This is an Optima choke high performance, so this is the latest of the choke series out of the Beretta stable, and this is a cylinder bore. Really nice. And on a tactical gun, I'm not so sure if you're ever going to need this, but what is life without options? So the fact that they've given you the option of retrofitting chokes into this gun, I think, is an absolutely wonderful feature. I just brought some chokes along here. I actually grabbed them at home. These are your typical Optima choke high performance that we used in any other sporting gun, including the comps and comp pros and the Tony system competition gun. This is a flush fitting choke. In other words, it's flush with the end of the muzzle. These are what they call a 3/4 choke or a 25mm choke, and they would extend an inch out the front of the barrel, theoretically giving you another inch on your barrel. And once again, I like options. You could get something like this from Beretta, also Optima Choke High Performance, but it's the 50mm option. So that gives you another 2 inches onto your barrel theoretically. So your barrel will then go from a 20-inch to a 22-inch barrel. And then obviously available in multiple chokes, from cylinder, improved cylinder, modified, improved, modified, full, extra full. The choices are yours, which I think is, once again, really, really nice to have. Let's put this guy back. For today's exercises, cylinder will be absolutely fine. You never have to over tighten your chokes, just a nice little nip. So at a glance, those are the first 2 things that come to mind, that I see here, is that bolt release is definitely a vast improvement. And the fact that you can now use chokes of your choice, I think, is an absolutely wonderful feature. Really, really nice. Careful not to over choke if you're going to shoot slugs. Okay, that can be a bit dangerous. Personally, I would stop at maybe cylinder bore or improved cylinder. Improved cylinder, I think, would be the tightest I'd go with chokes. So this 1301 Tactical comes stock standard from the factory with a magazine tube capacity of 5 rounds in the tube, 1 in the chamber, 6 rounds. You increase that dramatically by adding on one of these extensions, available as an aftermarket from Beretta. Fits on the front. I'm going to show you in a moment how to do that. Nice thing is you don't have to spend extra money on another magazine spring. The spring that's in here is absolutely perfect for another 2 rounds. And I'm going to show you how simple that is. Obviously make your firearm safe, which this one is. Undo this little guy over here. Take that off. Then there's a plug on the front of the magazine, which is a semi-permanent plug as the gun comes from the factory. To put an extension on, because this, to all intents and purposes, acts as a block. So you'll never be able to get rounds in or out past this point. We have to remove this plug and throw it away. And then we'll simply screw this in its place over here on the front. So this plug on the front of the magazine tube is factory fitted. To put an extension on the end here, obviously your cartridges need to pass this plug. So this plug needs to go. It's held on by a little retention clip that you can see right over there. And all we have to do is press that clip down. Careful now, the spring is going to want to come with it. And I notice that from the factory, they've got a restrictor inside here already. So it's a good thing that we're doing this exercise. I wouldn't have known that until we tried to load her for the first time. And I would have had to have taken it out anyway, because this restrictor looks like you would have only got 2 rounds into the magazine. Why, you ask, does Beretta send it with this plug in place? Very simply, Beretta exports to numerous countries across the world. Many of those countries have got a legal restriction on magazine capacity of semi-automatic shotguns. So much easier to remove it in countries that allow higher capacity and leave it in for countries that have a problem with magazine capacity and hence won't have a problem with customs and the law. Right, so we've removed the forend by removing the cap that holds it all in place. This little cap was a restrictor cap over here that prevented the rounds from dissipating when you took the cap off. We're taking this off, we're going to throw it away. Put the forend back on. Nice, easy fit. The original magazine spring simply goes into the tube and we pry in very gently. I would actually suggest wearing glasses for this, because whenever you work with springs, glasses make a lot of sense. Here's our extension, 2 rounds. Pop that on the top. This little extension here is also threaded over here and replaces this cap. What we are going to lose now is our sling swivel on the front. But that's not really a problem, because one could put a figure 8 barrel retention on here with a sling stud. So that's not really a problem. But look how beautifully that now matches up on the height there. That's a really nice little accessory, and it's something I would almost insist upon if one were to purchase a gun of this nature. This is a tactical gun. An extra 2 rounds could make the difference between life and death. So that's really nice. I see a lot of the things are still exactly the same as the predecessor. Massive crossbolt safety. These are just really easy, comfortable working guns, and they usually perform exceptionally well. So I'm actually looking forward to shooting it.